Hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you. It's region weather meteorologist Matt Wintz here. I know kind of an odd time. It's the middle of the day, middle of the morning here. You're getting ready for lunch. You're probably at work right now. I wanted to make this available just so you know kind of the latest on what's going on with Helene down in the Gulf of Mexico. I want to talk local impacts as well. And I want to keep you updated next few days because this is obviously a national story. And a lot of times the coverage goes obviously all to Helene, whereas we're kind of left in the dark here in the region with, do we actually get impacts from this? Are we going to get rain? Are we not? And also there's a lot going on this weekend. So I want to continue to update this forecast for you as we go through time. So first and foremost, I want to quickly thank our sponsors, FBIbuildings.com, publicserviceadjusting.com, tigerplumbing.net, minogue.life, and Griegers, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, in Valparaiso. This is kind of a bonus broadcast for them and for you as well. We've got a lot to talk about in terms of the big picture across the country right now. First of all, I see Jill was the first on board here this after or late morning. Hi, Jill. Hi, Darlene. Thanks for joining us on our YouTube channel. DZ, good late morning to you as well. And Linda, good morning as well. I appreciate you guys taking time. The whole point of this, yes, we're going to do a quick live broadcast, but I want this to sit on our Facebook page so that people can reference it as we go throughout the afternoon and evening when people are not working. All right. So here's what we're dealing with on satellite. We had some fog this morning. We've got some lingering clouds in the region as well. Notice the sunshine in our western counties. It is clear blue sky from here all the way back towards the West Coast. Just beautiful weather. If you have flight plans out west, perhaps hitting the Rockies or California on business, I don't know what it happens to be in terms of your plans, but just incredible sunshine and calm weather out in the Plain States. It's also heating up out west as well. For us, though, yeah, we've got the system down to the Gulf, and it's kind of a eye catcher. You can see some of these initial high cirrus clouds shearing off this system as you'd expect with a hurricane. And then we've got this deep flow of moisture heading up towards the Ohio Valley. It's been just so gloomy and gray. Pennsylvania areas of the Northeast with rain continuing. We got some rain of our own. And yep, as Tom says, we still need the rain. We certainly do, Tom. We didn't get enough of a good thing. But you know what? We'll take what we can get. And there are some more chances on the way, although I'm not overly impressed with our chances coming in with Helene, but we'll talk about it. And hi, Jeff. Thanks for joining us this late morning. I'm calling it afternoon. We're pretty darn close. All right, so let's dive into the latest. Here's Helene right now, centered just off the coast of Yucatan. Cancun still getting some heavy rain and some wind from this. Helene is now a hurricane. It's a Category 1 hurricane, so a rather weak one at that. But now that it's heading out over open waters, it is free game. There's not a lot of shear with this system anymore. There's also not a lot of dry air coming in, which is initially what we saw. And everything's going as expected, but this is expected to rapidly strengthen here over the next 24 hours. By this time tomorrow, we're likely going to be dealing with a major hurricane on our hands, perhaps as early as tomorrow morning. That would be Cat 3 or higher, and then it would maintain that status as it heads into areas of Florida. So in terms of the path of it, this takes it right into, this is called the Big Bend area of Florida. This is the Apalachicola area. It takes us right somewhere in there in terms of the center. But in terms of, and I want to show you this, in terms of the kind of the width of the system, look at this. These are your tropical storm force winds. They go out some 180 to 190 miles from the center. So, yeah, the center matters. That's where the worst part of the storm is going to be. But the impacts, this one's a big one. This one takes up a lot of real estate. Some hurricanes are small, some hurricanes are big. And this is on the bigger end of things where it takes up a lot of real estate in terms of those damaging wind potentials. And then you can see the interactive track here as we take it north. Remember, doesn't matter where that center goes exactly because it's really on the sides of that center where the worst weather is as that eye wall comes in. And the worst side of it is going to be the east side of it. That's typically how it works with hurricanes coming inbound from the south. So areas wherever that center is just off towards the east are going to get pounded, not just by storm surge, but the real strong winds. There's a tornado risk on the east side of these storm systems as well, in addition to lots of flooding. So where does this go? Well, I'll take you through some of the modeling here. You can see as we go through the day today, it just continues to strengthen. This is overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. This is now tomorrow afternoon, still offshore, getting some rain bands from Tampa down towards St. Myers, St. Pete as well. Cedar Key, which is in the Big Bend area. I visited there, beautiful little resort town. They're going to start to see some rain as well. And heavy rain is ongoing up towards Atlanta with the system as well. This system heads north. There's going to be a big landfall tomorrow evening, sometime into tomorrow night. Again, somewhere in this area of Florida between the Big Bend and Apalachicola, Panama City will likely have impacts from this as well, although the worst appears to be just east. But we'll have to continue to keep an eye on the fluctuation of this track. Hurricane forecasting isn't always the best. It's really not. I've been saying since day one, I could see this thing strengthening in Category 4 before it makes landfall. A lot of models keep it at Category 3, but remember, we've had numerous storms over the Gulf that strengthen last minute, way above what model guidance suggests, and I don't see anything really to slow this down or any dry air coming in or anything like that. So we'll see what happens at landfall, but this is going to be a major hurricane for areas of Florida. It's not just Florida that will be impacted by this. Georgia will be dealing with hurricane conditions down in the southern half, tropical storm conditions up near Atlanta. This is going to be a big storm for them. Widespread power outages are likely for them as well. This will extend into areas of eastern Alabama. The Carolinas aren't out of the woods either. They'll get some strong winds from this, although the bulk of the impacts and power outages, I would suspect, are going to be in Georgia, and they'll go up through the Knoxville area. So Smoky Mountains, Gatlinburg, those areas are going to be impacted by the storm with flooding and strong winds as well. You notice as it heads north, here it comes. This is as far as my model goes. Tomorrow we'll get a good look at it, but notice how this rain stops somewhere in Indiana and Ohio, right? It's not going to quite make it all the way. This system is going to merge with an upper level low. That upper level low is going to absorb it, and the whole thing is going to become subtropical pretty quickly. And as a result, the whole thing is going to unravel. The rain will spread out, and it'll weaken pretty quickly once this takes place. It's something called the Fujiwara effect, which I don't want to throw you into that for your lunch. I know you're snacking on salad. You don't need a term like that. But it's kind of cool. These two lows will interact. They'll play together, and then they'll kind of merge as one. It's not going to create a larger or a stronger storm. It's going to create kind of a different kind of setup in terms of what the storm looks like. It'll take the tropical out of it, and it'll produce just generally an area of low pressure. A couple concerns for us locally, though. I'll talk about that in a second. Just wanted to Google Maps what it looks like, where this center circulation is going to go. Here's Apalachicola right here. A lot of wildlife reserves and swamps in this area. Some good running areas as well. Here's the Big Bend right here. Here's Cedar Key. This area right here, there's not a lot of population until you get inland towards Tallahassee. And then, you're dealing with a lot of cities here along the 75 and Interstate 10 corridors. But overall, where it's making landfall, a lot of small towns in there, all right? A lot of parkland as well. Very prone to hurricane hits, but still going to be a pretty big deal where this does hit. I know a lot of people have interests to the west of Apalachicola when we talk Panama City, Destin, areas towards Pensacola. They're going to see impacts there, but as long as this center circulation stays east, the impact should be a lot more minor than what they're dealing with on the eastern side of this storm. Either way, this is still going to be a big storm for them as well, with very strong winds. The storm surge, obviously not as big of a deal on the western side because you've got that wind pushing out. So you actually might see a little bit of a sea level drop. But on the east side of this, right in here, you get that push of water from that wind over hundreds of miles blowing. That's called storm surge. That's going to rise anywhere from 10 to 15 feet in spots. That's just sea level rise. That's not including the wave action, which is expected to be anywhere from 15 to 25 feet high waves. And then you're throwing in 10 to 15 inches of rain on top of that. That's a lot for any area to handle. And certainly this coast is used to that, but it doesn't make it any easier. They're still going to see a lot of damage from this. All right, let's talk winds, because here's where my concern comes in for the region and areas of the Ohio Valley. As we go through time, this is just some models look at this. You can see the winds coming in. A center circulation, again, this is going to vary on where that center, that eye wall goes, but this takes it in right near Apalachicola, takes it up through Tallahassee. Notice how as we get into tomorrow night, we're seeing 80 to 90 mile per hour winds in southern Georgia. That heads up into Atlanta area, especially east of towns as you get up towards Dahlonega, Athens, areas of eastern Georgia into the mountains, dealing with 60 to 70 to 80 mile per hour winds. That is going to cause some big issues for them. But notice how the winds start to come up towards our region with perhaps some gusts to 30 Friday morning. I'll carry the story from there after I talk rainfall. Here's the rainfall forecast. A lot of rain for those folks down there. All right, this is the latest look. This is the 12Z, which just came out. This is wind gusts, all right? This is Friday morning right here. Gusts to 30, not a big deal. But watch what happens as we go throughout the day Friday. Some of that wind energy from this system, as it's getting slung back into that upper level low, is going to pass through the region and through Ohio. And notice we have gusts maybe Friday afternoon, Friday evening, getting into the 40 mile per hour range. The GFS showing some 50-mile-per-hour gusts downstate. It's not going to last real long. And then notice as we go into Saturday morning, it's like nothing happened. It'll be real nice and calm around here. But we have a period of some stronger winds that could move through the region as we get into Friday afternoon, Friday night. Last thing I want to show you here is the rain chance. In terms of this initial band of rain, it looks like it's going to stop just south of us as drier air is eroding it. There's going to be a fine cutoff where this rain goes. But as we go into Saturday and this low is absorbing the system, I do see the potential for at least a wave of some showers to work through. They'll probably be fading as they move in, so no prolonged heavy rain, but it does look like we will get some rain around here sometime Friday night into early Saturday. And then it depends on where this low goes. There's still a lot of difference with the models, but as of your Saturday plans right now, it looks like the bulk of the rain chances are going to be downstate, down towards Kentucky and Missouri. Whereas for us, we would have just a couple little bands of some lighter showers that would develop at times. I do think there'll be a lot of dry hours. So a lot of you have gotten a lot of messages this week and last week as well in terms of planning out this weekend and what it looks like. I would not cancel anything that's going on Saturday as of right now. I don't think we're going to have any real heavy soaking rains around. It would be more scattered showers throughout the duration of that with these kind of outer bands working in from just the low pressure itself, no longer a hurricane or anything like that. And then Sunday, perhaps a fading shower, but most of it looks to go east. We'll see what the Euro says this afternoon. I have a lot more faith in the Euro than the GFS. But either way, we may end up completely dry this weekend, or these bands may end up coming in. And I have a hunch we'll get a few showers out of it, but I really don't see any big rains coming this way this weekend. What I do see are some gusty winds Friday, though, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that potential as that continues to move inland. All right, that's all I have for you guys. I'd be happy to quickly answer questions for you. Then we'll get you on to your lunch. Again, the whole point of this is for this to sit on our Facebook page so people can reference it as we go throughout the rest of the afternoon. All right. Jeff says, are there any other model tracks possible? Jeff, there's not. All the ensembles. So what the ensembles are, the GFS, the Euro, the HER, all these models will run a bunch of different tests. They'll basically run the solutions over and over and over, and they'll see what all the different results are. All the ensembles are pretty close together. That's where the Hurricane Center gets that exact track from, is they basically take the average of all the ensembles. I mean, there's hundreds of them. And in terms of where the track is, that's usually the center point. Sometimes it's not based on what the trend's been. But I don't see a different track outside of Florida. I mean, in the Big Bend region, I think we've kind of narrowed in on that. In terms of where it goes from there, though, there are some differences on how this low kind of gets absorbed in the upper level low and where this moisture tracks. Things could come a little bit further north. We could end up with a little bit more rain out of it. We could also have it trend a little bit further south. We could end up with less rain. That's why I said there is a real potential that we don't get much rain at all this weekend, and most of it stays down to the south, okay? Great question, though. Phoebe says, just jumping on, my husband's flying home tomorrow at 7 from Tampa. No cancellations yet, freaking out. Well, yeah, Tampa's going to be getting some impact starting tomorrow morning. It'll probably start to really ramp up tomorrow around 7. So hopefully they can get up. They're not going to get the worst impacts in Tampa. Let me take you down there real quick. So here's the wind. Let's fast forward to tomorrow at 7. And you notice, I mean, we're talking, this is around 7. Tampa's got wind gusts 60 to 70 miles per hour. So not the brunt of the storm, which will be just offshore, but they're going to have some rain moving in. They're going to have gusty winds around 7. So that's going to be interesting, Phoebe, to see how that goes. That's going to be one of the not so good times for Tampa, although it's not a direct hit. So if he can get out earlier, that would be great. If not, may have to hunker down for a day or so. They're going to have some good storm surge coming into Tampa Bay itself. Ruth says, my son attending college in Greenville, South Carolina. What impact should he expect? So Ruth, South Carolina, especially in Greenville, they're going to see strong winds from this. And they're going to see lots of heavy rain. That's going to be the main impact. There may be some power outages in the area as well. The system will be weakening as it comes in. We'll look kind of at the rain here as we go through time. So there's the wind and the rain. So here's the wind. Greenville winds will be gusting probably 50 to 60. So that's a decent storm system. And there'll be some good rain coming with that as well. Let's look at kind of where the rain goes with this. And you can see, yeah, they're going to be getting a pretty good dose of rain. Shouldn't last too long, maybe 5 or 6 hours worth of heavy rain as that center moves on through. Worst of it's going to be in Georgia, though. So your son should be okay from that. Certainly going to be an interesting system for them as well. Erica says, how does Bloomington look on Saturday? It'll be at IU for a noon kickoff. I know, big game. In terms of Bloomington on Saturday, the chances of rain are a little bit higher than here in the region, Erica. So we will have a rain chance around on Saturday. It'll be a little breezy, at least at the onset, but the wind shouldn't be much of an issue in the afternoon. But I do see some rain chances around depending on how those bands move in. Not a washout, though. That's the good news. So we'll see kind of how that goes. All right. All right, everybody. I think that's it. So that's our update on Helene here as of Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday midday, we'll call it. So that's kind of what we're dealing with there. Sean, I see your comment coming in just north of Tampa. I've never heard of Wekiwachi. There's some interesting town names down there. I just like Okeechobee. I had family down at Lake Okeechobee. But anyway, real quick for you, Sean, the same as Phoebe has her husband's down in Tampa. So same as there, where the winds are going to start to pick up tomorrow. They're going to have probably winds 60 to 80 mile per hour gusts in Tampa itself. Storm surge will be an issue there, and they will be experiencing some of the outer bands from this system, although not a direct hit. Tampa will be impacted by a pretty decent storm there as well. Okay. All right. That's all I got for you guys. Again, hopefully we can get some rain out of this. You know, we need all that we can get here in the region. So hopefully we can get some out, but I know a lot of you have plans on Saturday, so that's not something you want to deal with on the weekend. I get it. All right. We'll continue to keep you updated. You guys have a great rest of the day.